Hey, welcome. I'm Wood, and we're comparing two accounts, one budget, one free to play. This is day 4. Let's check our progress. Okay, here we are in the free to play account. Day 4, I can't believe it. It's crazy. We're going to check our Adeline chase here and collect our clan boss key. I don't think that's going to help us too much. We're really early on clan boss. Anything to buy in here? I don't see anything. See, it's always really like when you're first starting out, it's really tempting to you look at some of this gear and it's 4-star and it's got a little speed on it. So no, I'm not going to buy that. But it's weird. Playing over these last 3 days. So we're on day 4 now, but it's been 3 days. You know, we're completing 3 days now, and it's been really weird to keep playing my main account. And I get into the market, and it's like, ooh, that might be a good piece of gear. I'm like, what are you doing? Why? Don't just leave it alone. It's not for you. it's just gonna be clutter on. Yeah. So I'm getting used to valuing gear that I wouldn't normally value on my main account on these two free to play accounts. You can see around there's a green border around the free to play, and then there's just no border on the pay to win or budget account. I'm starting to see a little bit of a difference, because we completed normal campaign in both accounts and collected both of our void shards for that, so that was really nice. And we're now on pretty deep into hard. So on the free to play, we completed normal campaign, which got us our 2 void shards, and that was really nice. We also completed it on the budget account. This is real. The void shards are going to be really helpful, and I'm not going to pull those today. Those I'm going to wait for a 2 times weekend. When you're early game, you want to wait for a 2 times weekend. I know I pulled shards on the first couple of episodes, but I really think that's the wrong the wrong thing to do. Unless, I mean, when you're this early, the ancient shards aren't that precious, and so I'm not too worried about pulling them. And I would like the rewards for the Path of Light event. You can see we went in and picked up all these rewards on the Path of Light, which is really, those things are really helpful. The rare skill books, most people aren't even going to look at those, but on a really early account when you're building some rares, it's especially your starter champion, it's really nice. I do have Athel booked on both starter accounts. Also, I'll show you here. I won the novice tournament on the budget account. You can see I had a pretty substantial lead on that one, and I think I scored more points on the free to play in the novice tournament. They didn't happen to be in the same novice tournament, and I wouldn't expect that anyway. But I got 3rd place on the free to play, and if you look, I got 200 more points on the free to play one than I did on my budget one. And I got 3rd instead, and it just depends on which pool you get put into for the novice tournament. So you do try, when you start a new account, you try and win that novice tournament, but sometimes you got big spenders or somebody who just really grinds and doesn't need to sleep or whatever, and so you try to win, but you're not always going to, unless you're whoever just beat me. So this is. It's been really interesting today. I got stuck on a challenge. This artifact challenge right here. Win a 4-star or higher boots with HP percent as the primary stat from clearing stage 6 of the Karok Castle on hard or higher. And I got into hard and I made some progress. And so I've just been farming experience in here, just trying. I forgot. Okay, so here's another thing I wanted to talk about on these 2 accounts, because when you start out, if you look up here, you can't even see that. Let's look at the other account. If you look up here on the budget account, you can see here the cap of your energy is 97. And you don't want to use energy refills, because the energy refill just fills you to the top of your cap. You don't want to use the energy refills until that is closer to the 130 that it'll actually cap out at. And as you move up levels, see here we're at level 31. I think we're at level 31 on the free to play also. And so this is important, because if you use an energy refill, you're wasting a whole bunch of energy. You're wasting like 30 energy if you did it right now. And so what I've been doing, I've been taking advantage of these arbiter missions. I'll go back to the free to play here. I've been taking advantage of these arbiter, not missions, but these arbiter Call of the Arbiter series rewards. And so you go in here and you see there's 100 energy in there. Well, that's not a refill. It's just 100 energy. So you're not wasting anything when you use that. So I've been taking advantage of that today. And little hint, all you have to do is hit copy right here, and it gives you access to that. And then if you start the YouTube video, so there's 10 episodes to the Call of the Arbiter, and all you have to do is start it, and then you go back into your account, and then you can collect all your rewards. I do encourage, if you don't know anything about the game, I do encourage you to watch the series. It's not my thing, but I can see why that would appeal to a lot of players. It gives the champions in the game and the characters and the lore behind it. It gives it more depth, and it gives they become more than just pixels on a screen. They're characters in a story. And I do see how that would appeal to a lot of people, and I think it was kind of a brave thing they did. I realize now that it was about a year ago that series came out, and I don't know if it was successful enough for them to move it on to something else. I think the goal was to move it into a Netflix series or an Amazon series or something like that, and I don't know if I haven't heard anything if they're doing that or not, but I'd like to see that keep going, because I think that increases the draw for a lot of people. Everybody plays different games for different reasons, and I think that's, I think that's one of those things that adds depth and character to the story. So anyway, so let's go in and I'll show you where I've been farming experience here to try and get the 4-star HP percent boots. It didn't take me very long on the budget account. This one has been I think it's been all afternoon trying to get this one to give me some boots here that would fit into the criteria. Everything is random chance, random number generator in this game, and so I'm just farming experience for these guys. Athel, I actually kind of like Athel. This is my first time building her, and I just wanted to use her for no other reason that I'm curious. I've heard she's one of the worst starter champions, but I've been just as happy with her as I was with Elhain or Kale's a little bit different because he is more useful in Clan Boss, but I think she's a better starter than Galek is, definitely, and I see the appeal of using her as a starter. So yeah, mystery shards, just getting mystery shards as a reward for that one. So let's go in on the I keep wanting to call this a pay to win account. I'm not trying to win. If I was trying to win, I'd have to spend a lot of money, and I'm not going to do that. This is a budget account. Bolster's good gear. I've never bought a gear pack before. Because there's no guarantee that this is going to be good gear at all. There's just absolutely no guarantee. It could all be bad, and they let you buy 5 of these. So you could spend $150, and that's a bargain. According to them, that's a bargain. You could spend $150 and not get any good gear, and it's always a dice roll. But everything in this game is, and that's why spending in it has to be on a budget. I really believe that if you're going to spend, you need to spend on a budget. You can't just say, oh, this looks good, or that might really help me, because you really are just gambling. And it's because and sometimes, you know, if you've got a lot of money and you're able to control that, that's fine. I'm glad there's people like that can do that. But I think I really believe most people need to limit themselves on a budget, you know, because it can get out of hand really fast. So let's get my daily login reward. And so I'll show you what I'm on a progress mission, I'm on a progress mission on this one. The thing that was holding me back was building 4 level 40 champions. That was kind of holding me back on that mission. Now I was able to do that on the free to play, and I was just doing food, and it just happened that I ended up with 4, and I'd forgotten the mission even existed. I'd moved on to other things, and so I've been able to make a whole bunch of progress. You can see down here I've got 85 of the 286 missions. I'm in part 2 of 4 for the Arbiter missions, and I'm just working on getting some 25 lesser magic potions from the magic keep, and so that's what I've been working on that one. So I got a little bit ahead of the free to play. If you watched the first couple videos, you'll remember that the free to play was ahead of the budget account for most of the time, and it was mostly just because of some luck that I had on gear and things like that my Ethel was just a little bit stronger than the one on the budget account. So it's been kind of interesting though, as we've moved into hard campaign. I've noticed a little bit, you know, that I'm leveling champions up just a little bit faster. 20% when you're not getting that much experience isn't that much of a difference, but when you run hundreds of campaign runs, it adds up. And so I am seeing that now a little bit. I'll be interested to see after 6 months. I mean, you know, 6 months I'll have more spending involved too. I'll have 4 more months of spending. So the raid card, I don't know. I'm still on the fence as to whether or not it's a good value, but we'll take a look at it after 3 months, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, it's been pretty interesting. Let me read through I made a little list of the things like I said, I've just been making food, kept up on missions and challenges, and oh yeah, sorry, I didn't mention, but you can see it on the screen. My Ethel is up to 50. I got her to 5-star, and I did that first on the free to play. And then within like an hour, I had my Ethel up to 50 on the budget account. So there really haven't been many changes, many differences, and I didn't really expect any. It's been kind of what I expected so far. And so you may be thinking, well, why am I tuning in if you're not showing any differences in spending yet? And that's a very fair question. I still think it's going to be an interesting journey, but I'm not sure that it's going to really show very many differences in these first. So if you'll bear with me, and I appreciate your patience while I try and get things going here. And also the videos. You know, I know these are my first videos I've ever made. I know they're not good. I'm learning a whole bunch of new things, and I'm enjoying it though. It's been kind of fun, and so I would also appreciate your patience and a little grace as you maybe hopefully don't judge me too harshly, but I promise I can't get worse. You know that. So I'll keep trying to get better, and I'll keep working at it. But let's see. What else was I going to tell you? Okay. I told you that one just off the top of my head. I used my Faction Wars keys. That was something else we should probably talk about. The Faction Wars is really, really important even when you're starting out. You're not getting very many materials, and you're not getting very many glyphs, but because that's where you get those 2 resources. But it's really, really important that you do the Faction Wars every day. Use all the keys that you can. For example, I had a couple of factions that were open all 3 days that I didn't have any champions from those factions. So obviously I couldn't even throw gear on a trash champion or a food champion. to even try and do faction wars. But they have the little lag. They have the faction keep for your starter champion open for a full week when you start the game, and so that's really helpful. Let me go into it here. Yeah, so that's really helpful. See the Sacred Order here. Most of the time there's either 2 or 3 open at a time. When I started playing, there was always 2, and then they started adding factions to the game, and so now every once in a while you have 3 open at the same time. But this is because, and I've got a rare book from getting stars. See, there's another resource that we got from doing faction wars. When you do a certain number of stars, see, I've got 9 stars right here in that faction, and I'll just show you. I mean, I'm not ready for the boss fight yet on 7, but let's see. The nice thing about faction wars, and see, I've only got 3 from this faction. The nice thing about faction wars, you don't get penalized for losing in a stage. You don't lose your key. You don't lose any energy. There's no energy involved in faction wars, and so there's only upside other than your time. If you lose one, there's only upside to doing faction wars. So it's really important to do, and you know, it gets kind of same thing every day, and it after a while, after you've beaten it, you can even sometimes forget to finish your faction wars. But the resources that you get from it, it keeps being a really important thing to do in the first or all the way through to the end game. It really does. So yeah, not ready for this one yet. But go get him, Ethel, get him. Oh, that's not good. Mom died. Mother Superior is dead. And boy, Ethel's provoked. She can only use her. See the little bull there? That's provoked. And she's got fear also. Yeah, this boss is he's kind of tough at the beginning. He becomes so easy later. That's the thing. So it's so funny. But you know, you can have just as much fun playing on an early account as you can on a late. That's the thing I'm realizing, and I knew that before, but it's just been reconfirmed to me as I've started these 2 accounts. You can have just as much fun. It's a blast to go through and make progress, and you know, the game gives you problems to solve, and you have to use the resources that you can acquire in the game by either spending time or just by being patient and solve those problems. You can also spend money to solve some of those problems, but they give you so many that there's no amount of money that you can spend that solves all of them really fast. So it's a good challenge. It's really fun. Yeah, see, we're in this faction. See, this level 40. This is an uncommon champion, and he has a mini ally attack, and I think, is that Crusader? Anyway, he's going to be one of my 5-star chickens, but I'm using him because I have him right now, and so yeah, I put some gear on that I won't even want to save, and that's what helps you get. Oh no, let's focus on Paragon. So if there's still somebody alive, he'll put that unkillable on somebody else. See, he's unkillable right now, and we gotta have him. Yeah, good. Now you put it on somebody else. Now we can kill him, and now we have to wait the 2 turns on a marquee here for him. See, and he killed, man, that Paragon. He's such a pain. But here we go. After he takes his next turn, we'll be able to kill him. Oh, and he just put counterattack on himself for that last turn. So yeah, so you can do faction wars at the beginning with your starter champion. I was planning on, like I think I mentioned before in previous video, that I was going to start with Deacon Armstrong with promo code that gave you him, and I wasn't able to use that promo code. I guess it expired. I heard Saf say something about that sometimes they expire and then they come back or something, and I don't know. I didn't have time though because I was brand new, so I went with the Taragi the Frog one. He's been really good. I really enjoyed using Taragi the Frog. I didn't have him early because we didn't even have Shadowkin faction early when I started, and so I got him when I was already kind of a veteran player, and he's been really good. He's been really important. Helped with a lot of progress on both accounts. So that's been kind of fun. And I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I'm not going to be doing the referral links. I know even if I get somebody who wants to do that for me, because I won't be able to control how much gets done on either account. And so if for example on the budget account, if somebody completed everything and then I got all these rewards and I wasn't, and then whoever I assigned the link to didn't do it on the free to play, then I wouldn't, it wouldn't be a fair test. I'm trying to keep everything as consistent between these two accounts as possible so that it can be a really fair test. And I'm going long term. I'm going for a year. So I don't think that RNG or luck will factor in as much, because usually everything has a regression to the mean. And I think I've got a pretty good handle on because like I said, the first couple of days I felt like I was a little bit more lucky on the free to play, and today, or this last 24 hours, the luck sort of shifted into the I keep wanting to call it a pay to win account. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know why I can't get that out of my head. The budget account. Thank you. Sorry about that. So anyway, so now we've got on both accounts, we have 2 void shards from completing normal campaign, and that's really great. Excited about the 2 void shards, but I am not going to pull them today. I am going to pull the 4 ancients though. I'm going to do it. You know why? Because this Patholite actually has, that's artifact enhancement. I've got some rewards to collect here. I'll collect the energy later. That's another thing. You can use that energy as a resource. That energy has a specific number, and so it's not gonna be limited by pulling it as an energy refill. It's just a number, and so you get that number. Like if sometimes they'll give you a promo code that has 500 energy. It's not 5 energy refills. It's just 500 energy. And the energy refills, I like to try and save them. Some of the rewards for missions and challenges have energy refills as that reward, and so I am taking those just because it would stop my progress if I didn't. So I am doing those, and so there is a little bit of waste there. If somebody was being ultra efficient, they would wait until their account was leveled up to, I think it's 50 before it caps out at 130 energy. So you'd be waiting quite a while. I think it takes about a month to get to level 50. But yeah, I want to get these 2 4-star chickens because the food grind has been real, man. It's been serious. It takes a long time to grind all the food that you need to get your starter champion leveled up to 60. And so I'm really interested in getting these 2 4-star chickens. This is interesting. I had this thought earlier today. The core hammers, they used to be such an important thing. Every time I watched a Chosen video, he would show some of the events going on in the game, and he'd say, got to get these, do as much as you need to do just to get these core hammers in this event. If you can't do the whole event, that's fine, but at least get the core hammers. And he was right. The core hammers were really important because the Swift Parry gear. And I opened the Forge today. The Forge opened at, was it level 30? I think it was level 30 the Forge opens. And so the Forge is really, really, really huge when it comes to getting good gear for your champions. It's really big. What else was I going to tell you? Got my, that was the other thing. Got my first Mortal Soul Stones. Which one did I get them? Yeah, I got my first Mortal Soul Stones. So we've got Soul Stones now. We don't even have the Altar of Souls open yet. It opens at level 42. But I thought, hey, when that gets open, I'll have 2 stones to start me out with. And it's, there's very little chance that you can get something out of those. Those small ones don't really get you anything. Although on my main account, and you may not believe this, but I think it's a 0.00005 or 0.0005% chance of getting a 6-star legendary on that. And then it would have to be one that you have, right? So because you can get a soul for any champion in the game, whether you have them or not. And so I pulled a 6-star Duchess. And if you don't know, Duchess Lily 2 is really, really powerful champion in this game. I'll show you here. She's extremely powerful in arena. She's not as much as she used to be. She used to be a lot more dominant than she is now. But I still use her all the time in live arena and in other parts of arena, in 3v3 and classic arena. And she's so good. She's got some skills that just aren't duplicated by any other champion, although Pythion comes close. But she's really good. But I pulled a 6-star legendary soul for her before I had her. And on the next 10 times for Duchess Lily 2, which really isn't much of an extra chance, I was lucky enough to get a Duchess. And so that was really great. So then I had a champion with a 6-star soul, and I think it made everybody think that I was some sort of whale or something like that. But I really did. I pulled it on one of those mortal soul stones that gives you almost the tiniest chance of getting a 6-star legendary, and I was able to do that. So that was fun. Anyway, so just been grinding food. I know I say it all the time, but that's all I'm doing. And then the missions. I put the frost set on Taragi because he's got the provoke, and it's actually worked a couple of times. It's saved my bacon, saved Taragi. He looks like he might be made of bacon. Look at this guy. I love this guy. He's awesome. He's so cool. He looks like one of those Japanese masks, but he's like a real life version of that. I just love it. He's awesome. Anyway, yeah, put him in Frost because he provokes, and in campaign, when I'm using him and Athel as a tandem duo combo to try and 3-star all of the stages, sometimes they hit him and they freeze, and it's been a kind of a nice little extra control. So you can see I've been building up, getting the reward champions from different stages. Commander. She's actually an uncommon that I didn't mention, or I haven't mentioned. I have seen people use her to beat the Bannerlords faction. She has a possible stun on her A1, which is good, and then she has a heal. So a lot of people try and build her if they don't have anything better. They try and build her for faction wars. Another one. Oh, I think I have one of him. Is Satyr for the Skinwalkers. Satyr is one that is another uncommon that some people use to beat their faction wars. It just depends. Sometimes you get really lucky in one faction, but then you kind of don't have a lot going on in some other factions, and if you get a little impatient with your faction, because you want to win the faction wars as soon as you can, because Lydia is so powerful. Lydia is the reward for completing faction wars, and you want to do it as soon as you possibly can. I don't know if I'll be able to do it on the spender account. I'd really like to. I think that would be a good goal to have. Let me know if in the comments if you know the game. What's your prediction? Do you think I'll be able to get Lydia spending $50 a month? I would hope so. That's $600. I would think you'd be able to get a Lydia after a year. But I'm going to make that my goal, try and get Lydia after a year. I'm going to try and max out my Great Hall also in the spender account. I don't know if I'll be able to do it in the free-to-play. I wasn't too much over a year on my main account, though, and really hadn't spent very much on it. So I think it might be possible if I have enough time. That's sometimes what it comes down to also with Arena, with getting your Great Hall farmed. Wixwell, the Wixwell fusion. I don't think I'm going to try and do it on either of these accounts. I know I've got another little less than a week now before that starts. If you're watching this later, this is about a week before the Wixwell fusion starts. And I'm going to see how I progress. So anyway, I have been talking way too much. I apologize. I enjoy talking about the game. I do, and I know I'm not real good at it yet, but I'm working on it. And like I said, I can't get any worse. So we've still got our progressive chance here. I'm going to pull the four shards on the free to play. Let's just get right in. Let's just get right to them. After how long have I been on? Almost 40 minutes. I'm sorry, this is too long. But if you're with me, thank you. Is that a ghoulish ranger that we just got? Oh, hey, Eris. Okay, so Eris can be good for certain speed tunes of clan boss teams. She's got actually a really good kit. She gets an extra turn if she kills somebody on her A1, which if you're using her in clan boss obviously doesn't happen. But she removes a random buff from all allies, has a 60% chance of placing a 30% increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. That becomes crucial for your speed tune because she actually removes the stun from your stun target in certain clan boss teams. And I still run one of those teams. So Eris is good. Counterattacks the attacker when an ally is attacked. So she gets a lot of her A1s in on the clan boss, which is really good. And then she has a speed in dungeons by 16. I've never used that aura before, but it's it can be useful if you're using her in dungeons, which I don't think you would be very, very long. Okay, another Rocktooth, farmable Ogren. He's actually good because he has he's good. I say good. He has a heal reduction that's booked down to a 3-turn cooldown, and so that is up to 100% when he's 3-star ascended. And a lot of people use him in their spirit keep because the spirit keep boss just keeps healing over and over again. And if you can put the heal reduction on him, late game that doesn't matter, but in early game that actually comes in handy. But it's a champion you get just for playing the game, and I already have one on both accounts, so that's not interesting at all. All right, let's see what we get on the third one. Fingers crossed here. Oh, okay, another rare. Oh, Grinner, awesome. I didn't have a reviver, now I do. Grinner is a pretty decent reviver early game. I thought, well, why would you need anything else? He's limited by some stuff, but for a rare, and if you don't have another reviver, he can actually be pretty good. So he's got an increased attack on all allies for 2, but it's a 50% chance. Yeah, that one is one that's always puzzled me. Why would you have a 50% chance of putting a buff on your team? But he's a rare, so attacks all enemies has 20% chance of removing one random buff from each target, which actually can come in handy in the Magic Keep, where Magic Keep puts a shield on himself or herself, and she's very difficult to get through the shield when you're early game and you get into those later stages of Magic Keep. So that can be useful there too. So we'll see if I still need that when the time comes. Revives an ally, so it's a single target revive, but still it's a reviver. He's undead. There's only a few revivers in the undead, and so it's good to have one. Places a shield on the revived champion for 2 turns equal to 20% of their max HP. It's depending on who he's reviving, it's a shield, and so it's some kind of a 50% HP but no turn meter. So it's like I said, I didn't say it, but I was thinking it. Sorry. There's much better revivers in the game, but if you don't have another reviver, Grinner can be valuable. So, all right, so that's the 4 from that. Let's go over to the budget, and I promise I will get it over. And it's funny, we got all 4 of these shards in different ways on both accounts, but you'll see everything kind of evens out a little bit over time. I think over time everything evens out. It's just kind of a funny coincidence. We ended up with 4 shards on both accounts through different means, either pulling one from dungeons or from a reward from the winning the novice tournament or whatever. But so yeah, we got 4 on each. Come on, let's at least get a miscreated monster. That would be great, wouldn't it? Okay, there's an itinerant. I've never built one. He's Shadowkin though, so I think that's, other than Taragi, I think that's my first Shadowkin, other than... Hey, Slitherbrute. I love the Lizardmen, the aesthetic of them. They're so cool. The artists in this game, they do such a great job. I think this game could be played on a spreadsheet or with cards or something like that. But the reason I think a lot of people play is because it's a good game structurally. It's not as good as maybe it used to be, but it's a good game structurally, and it's got great art. One of the great things also, and I know I'm talking way too much, but one of the great things also about the game is that it's a graphic representation of the skills that they're doing. And a lot of times they'll do this skill and it's almost how you would picture it should be. And the artists have done a really brilliant job in the animations and in the design of the champions and everything. I think most of them are just top notch, and there's very few of them that I would say, oh, I maybe they should change that one, or I don't really like. Most of them, they really nail it on the artwork. All right, let's pull a couple more, and we'll get out of here. Thanks for bearing with me on this. Runic Warder, I think we pulled him yesterday too. That might be my second one. I doubt he's new. I think it was on this account that we pulled him yesterday. And another dwarf. Dwarves love me, and I love dwarves. Beast Wrestler. He wrestles beasts. I don't know what that weapon is called, but it is awesome. I love it. All right. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you so much for watching, and if you stuck with me till the end, I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to keep trying to get things going here. I'll have a video out on if you're watching this on the days they come out. I'll have a video out on Monday. I'm gonna release another video tomorrow, but it won't be part of this series. But I'm just going to keep making progress, and we'll see how things go. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.